Okay, so since the test video audio quality ran smoothly, let's get on with take 3 of days 1 through 3 of the G1 Climax results, standings, and review. And this is from the tournament began July 18th, 2016. And it's been a solid tournament this far. Had some really good matches. You had some couple horrible matches, but overall, it's a damn good tournament. So, I'm gonna be covering the tournament matches only. Like the matches outside of the tournament, I'll only cover them during the day of the finals. So, anyway, let's just get on into day 1, which is the A block. So we had Hiroshi Tenzan being the first person to get on the board with 2 points, with a victory over Tomohiro Ishii. This was a really good match. Like, Tenzan at this point, he's washed up. I wasn't really too happy with him replacing Kojima, unless Kojima was hurt. Like, let's say if Kojima was hurt and they were having Tenzan replace him, I would be more understanding of that. But it's for them to go with this story of Tenzan getting one last run, which they could have just had Tenzan in the B block, and you wouldn't have to put Toru Yano in that spot, because to me Yano's garbage. So to take Kojima out just to go with the story with Tenzan, you could have found ways around it. But anyway, Tenzan ends up going over with a moonsault off the top rope. Him and Ishii's the man. He got a good match out of Tenzan. So Tenzan had a really good showing. So hopefully, if Tenzan ends up pulling out awesome matches for the most part, then I can get behind this whole story. So we'll see what else Tenzan does. Then you had Togi Makabe defeat Tama Tonga. That was the worst match on day 1. Makabe, he's washed. And Tama Tonga, this is his G1 debut. He really needs to pick it up, because this year he's fallen flat. So it's pretty much early in the G1, so there's still time for Tama Tonga to really step up his game in the ring. So let's just hope that in future matches he really brings his A game, and he's not wearing those shitty ass tights that he wore in day 1. Then we have Haruki Goto defeating Bad Luck Fale in a solid match where Goto had to lock in a sleeper hold before hitting the GTR for the 3 count. Goto carried Fale to the solid match, and Fale, he did his thing. In these tournaments, Fale has been known to be a spoiler. So let's say Okada needed a victory to win the G1, and he had to beat Fale. Him and Fale could have a really good match, and Fale ends up going over and playing spoiler, because that's his role in these G1s, and they made him look strong, so he'll have a good showing in the G1. Heard he had like a really good one last year and the year before, so let's see what happens there. Sanada defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi, and this was the second best match of day 1. I was surprised, I was actually shocked that they had Sanada go over with the skull in, because this is the first time I've ever seen Hiroshi Tanahashi tap out. They really, I don't know what you guys think, but I'm thinking New Japan really must like Sonata for him to go over Tanahashi via submission. So, and this is also Sonata's debut in the G1 Climax. Like, so far from what I'm seeing of Sonata in New Japan, I'm really liking his character. New Japan's really doing him justice, unlike TNA, which they gave him that just god awful storyline where he betrays Muta, then he joins James Storm, coming out dressing like Muta. It was retarded. But Sonata, he's doing very well for himself in New Japan. Then the main event, you saw Naomichi Marufuji defeating Kazuchika Okada. In my opinion, this was the best match of the night. I give this 4.5 stars out of 5. It was a really good showing from Marufuji. From what I've been hearing, that back in Noah, he was getting sloppy in the ring, I guess. And this match, everything he did was crisp and clean. Can't really think of any botches or any sloppy strikes. Like, he was really going after Okada's arm. Okada did a really good job of selling the arm. And Marufuji in this match was just bodying Okada at every turn. Every time Okada tried to get a comeback, Marufuji continued to cut him off, and he ends up hitting a modified Emerald Flosion to put him away. So, overall, night 1, I give this an 8 out of 10. Just 3 amazing matches to watch. And the tournament, just the wrestling was just a great way to start. Just guns blazing from New Japan, as expected. So now we're going to go on to day 2 of the tournament, which we get the B block having their chance. We start off with the worst match on the B block. Katsuhiko Nakajima defeating Toru Yano. It's typical Toru Yano match where he does the whole cheat to win thing, with which I really don't find him funny at all. I know some people do, more power to him, but to me, Yano's just straight up trash. Like, if he could wrestle, then okay, fine. I might find some humor into it if he knew how to wrestle, but he doesn't. Because he does this shit the whole match. At least with Eddie Guerrero in WWE, when he had the whole cheating to win thing, it was funny because he could still put on a good match. But Katsuhiko Nakajima, I'm not sure what to think of him so far, like with that match. But I did see day 4, but we'll get to that probably by like late Wednesday, early Thursday. But Nakajima, he looked okay from his match against Yano, but whatever. Worst match. Moving on. Yoshihashi defeats Kenny Omega. This is a really good match. A little bit better than I expected. Yoshihashi ended up going over after hitting a Bumaye, locking in the butterfly lock, and then hitting Karma for the 3 count. Yeah, Kenny Omega wearing his black tights. And I remember, like, he had this whole... Now he's doing this whole thing where he's trying to be super serious because of the IWC, which I really hate that term, IWC, Internet Wrestling Community. I was a fan of wrestling before I started even using the internet. It's just a dumb term when a lot of wrestling that's not like in the mainstream you can see through the internet. But I digress. Good job from both of these guys, Omega and Yoshihashi. These guys had good chemistry. I wouldn't mind seeing another match between these two. Then you have Evil defeating Unbreakable Michael Elgin. Elgin taking the clean pinfall. Evil coming out solo without any Bushi or Naito. Good to see. Because I wasn't sure if this match was how good this match was going to be, depending on if they were going to have like these fucking antics of Los Ingobernables. But it's good to see that they're getting rid of that for this tournament. Evil and Elgin, pretty good chemistry together. About on the same level as Evil and Goto's matches. So I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen in the future. If they ever have Evil go after the IC title, which he should be in line for an Intercontinental Championship shot should he beat Elgin. So we'll see what happens. So then you get Yuji Nagata defeating Tetsuya Naito. It was a good match from these two, because I didn't know what to expect going into this, whether we're going to see a lot of interference, but Naito, like Evil, he came out solo and he did his thing, working over Nagata's leg most of the match. Nagata ended up no selling, which I took issue with. If a guy's if most of the match you're getting your leg worked over, you should be selling that. And it's ridiculous. You shouldn't fucking act like your leg's perfectly fine when Naito's been targeting your leg most of the match, working it over, doing all kinds of leg submissions, and then you're all of a sudden perfectly fine. Shit's dumb as fuck. Like, did Nagata forget how to sell a leg, getting his leg worked over, or what? Like, this was super Nagata in this match. Naito would slam his leg into the ring post, on the apron, kept stomping on it repeatedly, and Nagata just, boom, he just gets up, pops up, he's perfectly fine. It's ridiculous, but still a solid match, though. Then that was the co-main event, and then the main event from day 2 was Tomoaki Honma defeating Katsuyori Shibata. That really shocked me the most, because the past few years, Honma's been the jobber of the G1, where even though he's putting on these awesome performances and he's over with the fans, like, he always ends up doing the job. So it's really nice to see him get this win for his first match in the G1 for this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the type of matches Honma's going to put up for this year's G1, except for Toru Yano. But outside of Yano, interested to see him and Naito, him versus Evil, him versus a match with Elgin, Omega. Him and Yoshihashi, they had a damn good match in day 4. And I want to see Honma and Nakajima as well. So overall, the best match, by the way, from day 2 would be Honma and Shibata. Another good match to check out would be Yoshihashi and Kenny Omega. So those are two recommendations from day 2 of the G1. The, so you don't have as many matches. I don't have as many matches to recommend from day 2 as much as day 1, where you had Tenzan Ishii, Sanada Tanahashi, and Okada Marufuji. Those were the best ones out of the tournament, period. Well, actually, nah. Homa and Shibata has been the third best match so far. Like in the 3 days. But overall, I give this show a 7.5 out of 10. Lost a little bit of steam from day 1, but it was still a good show from these guys. So like the standings from the first 3 days, Nakajima, Yoshihashi, Evil, Nagata, and Homa have 2 points, while Yano, Omega, Elgin, Naito, and Shibata have 0. So now we're going to move on to day 3, where we're back to the A block. You start off with Hiroyoshi Tenzan defeating Tama Tonga, where that match, meh, it was just there. Tonga didn't really do anything great. Tenzan, he was okay. Man, just skippable. Then you have Hiroki Goto defeating Tomohiro Ishii. These two had a hell of a match. Like, from the start of the belt, these guys waste no time going at it. And it was as if they were fighting for like the IC title, like from 4 years ago, or as if they were fighting for the Never Openweight Championship. Really enjoyed this match. Yeah, Goto hitting back-to-back GTRs to put away Ishii. So you made Goto look strong and Ishii look strong while taking the clean pinfall. Then we get Bad Luck Fale defeating Naomichi Marufuji. This was a solid match where you started off with Marufuji nailing Fale with these knife-edge chops. Fale no sells, and he was working over Nakajima. Not Nakajima, Marufuji for most of the match. And Marufuji, he had his comeback sequences where he would nail Fale with some thrust kicks, some charging knees, but Fale ends up picking up the win with the grenade. And then you have the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada defeating Sanada. This is their second match, and I say this was slightly better than Wrestling Dontaku, where you had Okada trying to get revenge on Sanada for costing him the heavyweight title at Invasion Attack. So Sanada had another good showing in this match. Like, if him and Okada keep working together, I think there's a possibility they could have a 5-star match. Because I see potential there. I don't know who else. I don't know how many of you guys would see the potential, but personally, I like to see some more matches from these two and let them have more time. So other than that, so afterwards you get the main event, Togi Makabe defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi. This is a pretty solid match where you got Tanahashi, being Tanahashi as usual. He can pull a good match out of Makabe, because Makabe, his match with Tama Tonga, wasn't too great. But Tanahashi was able to get a good match out of him. So Makabe ended up putting him away with the King Kong knee drop. One thing I didn't like was when there was a spot in the match where Tanahashi, he hits a sling blade on Makabe, but Makabe decides, I'm just gonna no-sell the sling blade. And he just nails him with a King Kong lariat. Like, fuck you, Makabe. Like, dude, you should be selling that. Like, nobody should no-sell the sling blade. Like, I don't care how big Makabe is. Like, you should never no-sell that. And Makabe didn't sell for shit. He was being super Makabe as usual. But it was still a solid match nonetheless. So the standings for the A block right now are Makabe, Tenzan, and Goto with 4 points. Okada, Fale, and Marufuji and Sanada with 2 points. And then Tanahashi, Ishii, and Tama Tonga sitting at 0 points. And the show for day 3 overall, I give a 7 out of 10. It's the worst show I've seen so far. Not that it was bad or anything, but they just didn't quite try to pick up some of the momentum lost from day 2. But it's still early on in we're still early in the G1. You got 19 days, so you'll get some great matches throughout the G1. Like, a lot of people talking about the Cruiserweight Classic being so great when in reality it's really not. It's guys from the Indies and Japan going into the E, just putting on these watered down Cruiserweight matches. That WWE is going to try to convince you that it's great when it's really not. But G1, no handcuffs. These guys just get in the ring, wrestle. And I'm really looking forward to what's next. So overall, with days 1 through 3, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is a good start to the G1. And hopefully New Japan can continue this momentum that they have. So, let's see. Hopefully by Wednesday, if not Thursday, I'll be back to talk to you about days 4 through 6 of the G1. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe. And I will leave this video up as long as the audio quality doesn't flop when it's uploaded. So I'll see you guys around. Peace.